How's it going, everybody? My name is Spencer Ostrowski, and I am the host of the Delivering Sports Show. Today, I'm bringing you some post-game coverage for the Las Vegas Aces versus Los Angeles game. It was the Aces' first home game of the season. They defeated them 83-70. I literally just got back from the stadium. I wanted to make sure I went to the first home game. Got to see some live action and kind of view the action for myself. I took a lot of notes down. I'll be going over them today. First part of this video I wanted to go over was more of like a traveler's guide for anyone coming to Las Vegas or a local. First thing I wanted to say was parking. They haven't really gotten down a very good system yet. If there's any advice I could give you is that you should not be going down Tropicana to turn into Mandalay Bay to park at the Mandalay Bay Center. Best way to go about it is to go down Frank Sinatra. I know if you're an outsider, this might be a little difficult to do, but in theory, this video is going to reach a lot more locals than it would be people from the outside. But if just in case, Frank Sinatra is kind of like behind everything. It's not a main street. You can see it's essentially the closest street to the Raiders Stadium, if you can see that. It's kind of on the other side. It seems very close. You can kind of get a really good look at the stadium. There's just another entrance into the Mandalay parking that you can get into, and if you go down, I ended up going down Tropicana, and obviously it wasn't very good. The guy ended up like directing me towards Frank Sinatra Street, and the main problem with the parking is that you really need to do a left turn into the parking, which obviously the left-hand arrow is going to go slower than going straight or to the right. So, excuse me. What you should do, I mean, unless you're coming from Henderson, it'll essentially be beneficial to you, so you'll end up turning right into the stadium. But I'm coming from Summerlin, which I think a lot of people would. I'm actually right by the baseball stadium if you guys want reference. So next time we'll definitely be going down Frank Sinatra. It still takes a little bit of time because that street's a little small and the lights don't go on. But luckily they have police officers there who kind of direct traffic and kind of keep things going. In any case, we'll get right into the post-game coverage here. Oh, and then actually I want to talk a few more things. When you're in the stadium, what I recommend is buying, if you want a jersey or t-shirt, like going up to the concessions first, maybe even during the start of the first quarter if you don't mind missing tip-off. I ended up getting my jersey right when I got there, and there was no one in line. And of course, when the game's over, people go crazy at halftime. So if you guys want to do something like that, I definitely recommend doing it at that time. Also, before last season, I would go to the concession stands. It was a place called the Olive, something Olive, and I would get tall things of beer there. They raised the prices to $15 for a tall thing of like Miller Lite and stuff like that. It used to be $12. It was kind of cheaper than buying 2 small glasses. So I guess they changed the price on that, which kind of sucks. Again, just some quick notes. Also, they have like little food stands, so if you guys are there, I wouldn't recommend waiting inside the concession lines. They're just really long. You're going to end up wasting half your quarter getting some expensive chicken. They have burritos, and there's actually some pretty cheap hot dogs you can get as well, and those lines are they're a lot smaller and also quicker because they use iPads and stuff. I think they might be independent retailers. And now we can get into the game. Sorry. Just want to give you guys some tips on going to the games if you are interested. The big story, obviously, of the game is that Hamby took a really big step forward. When I did my Aces season preview, she wasn't really on my radar. I thought she was good last year, but again, I didn't think she'd be a big contributor because what ended up happening, which is something I also didn't like, but I can kind of talk about that later, is Coach Lambier would end up taking all the starters, all 5. Not a single one would be on the floor, and he kind of ran out with this ragtag group of people. Like Tamara Young, Colson, it was Hamby as well, and Jisoo Park, and whoever. There was a kind of a guard that kind of switched in and out there, so it wasn't really like a solid second unit. But Hamby took over. When the thing was that when they were out there, they were up by about 11, and I was really worried that the LA would really just get back into the game because there was no established player out on the court. What ended up happening was Hamby was really a main ball handler. What I appreciated, even though she didn't hit a 3, that she was aggressive and made people respect her from that range. That way she was able to drive and then eventually post up, which was really, really good for her. She ended up with 14 rebounds, like 12 points, but they were really big 12 points, and they were really mostly in the first half when most of the starters sat for essentially half of the first half of the second quarter. Again, I want to note that I don't think that all 5 starters should be out at the same time. There's no reason. WNBA games are shorter than NBA games, and in any case, NBA teams are very good at switching off even 2 star players, let alone 4 or 5. I mean, when Cam Beige comes back, good Lord, they're going to have essentially 5 all-stars out on the floor, so there's no reason for all of them to be on the bench at the same time. It doesn't make sense. You can leave one out there. It helps keep the offense going. Luckily, the second unit in that second quarter allowed 2 points by themselves, and then the starters came back in. They allowed a few more, but of course brought in some more offense. I don't know if that's what Bill Laimbeer plans on doing this entire year. I would not count on them like having the opposing team score 2 points total for their like an entire quarter at a time like he had. So that's something he has to look at. I think keeping someone like Plum out there, who is definitely an established scorer, would be really good. Or of course you can leave A'ja Wilson out there for a few more extended minutes because she can match up against anybody, either be quicker or shoot over them. So just something I noticed. Refs, I don't know if this is a league-wide thing. This will be something we'll have to see because, of course, they have all these league meetings on how they want to call games. They're very, like, any grabs, they are, like, totally against it. So grabs are definitely something they're going to look after. There was a lot of fouls called in the beginning of the game. It was pretty frustrating. He kind of mellowed out even at the end, but they kept it as fairly consistent throughout the game, and it must have been something that they were told, like, in the offseason to look after. So that's something that Bill Laimbeer is going to have to adjust around. But with that being said, I think the Aces did a lot better job of this game more than the entire last season of fighting through screens. It did cost them a lot of fouls because refs seemed a little on edge and they want to call a lot of them like going through screens. But it ultimately helped the Aces guard the 3-point line because last season they would just lost behind screens, leave wide open threes, and we were getting killed. So the fact that they're willing to take those fouls and fight through screens, and in some cases draw offensive fouls on the opposing team when they're fighting through them because they'll be moving screens, I think they did a really good job. And obviously that second quarter was unbelievable. I think they allowed 6 points total. And again, when that second unit was out, I think they allowed 2 points at all. Like they didn't score for most of the second quarter, so it was really, really crazy. Something that the Aces have to work on, and something I noticed consistently throughout the game, they are terrible at throwing the ball in the post. I don't understand how the most post-dominant team in the league can be so bad at throwing entry passes. I can't record. I mean, there's no advanced stats in the WNBA, obviously, but from what I've noticed, so many turnovers. It must have been 7 or 8 turnovers just from trying to throw the ball in the post. They should spend an entire practice working on something like that because it's so essential to the offense. The team seems more willing to shoot threes, but at the end of the day, obviously, when Liz Cambage back and A'ja Wilson's going to work, they're going to be in the post. That's something they have to do. There's no choice. They have to do it every single time. Speaking of like things that drive me crazy, Jisoo Park is going to drive me crazy until the end of the earth. And also, you can add Colson to that list. I'll start with Jisoo Park. She's actually a really good defender. She defended the post very well in this game. The problem was she needs to learn how to rebound the ball. She always tries to go up with one arm, and it causes so many offensive rebounds and so many deflections out of bounds because she's not strong on the ball when she tries to go up for the rebound. It drives me nuts. And now I can go on to Colson. I don't know, like, I can't really think of a comparison. The best idea I have is like some sort of point guard version of Jamal Crawford. She has very good handles. You could tell that she had a few highlight plays where she was kind of breaking ankles a little bit. She had a nice reverse layup. At the end of the day, she like plays out of control sometimes, and she had so many turnovers. There's one where she had an easy fast break, 2-on-1. Should have been an easy bucket. She bounces it off her knee, and it goes flying out of bounds. She should have had a few extra steps to like adjust herself to grab the ball, and she ended up just like flopping on the ground. And beyond that, her passing is so bad. Laimbeer has to sit her down and tell her to calm down. And speaking of calming down, Jackie Young as well. She was like, I wasn't scared. I wasn't gonna be like, okay, this is the only game where I'm gonna judge Jackie Young on, but she was so timid in the first half. It was unbelievable to watch her. And then I think what I'm hoping was an assistant coach or Bill Laimbeer went up to her in the first half, like in the locker room, and told her, look, you are the first overall pick for a reason. I know you're playing with a lot of talent. You're playing with 3 other All-Stars in this game in the starting lineup, but you can take the ball and you can dominate with it. She ended up going 3 for 3 in the second half, and she had some very, very nice buckets. She had the first and one win in the post to show off some of her post game. I remember her having a mid-range game, and she just seemed more involved. When people gave her the ball, she looked to be attacking with it rather than just pass it off to Plum or try to hit A'ja in the post when she was really highly covered. So the fact that she felt comfortable in the offense in the second half made a really, really big difference. I know the game wasn't close really at all, but even like this is for the entire season. This isn't just for the second half of a game. She needs to be more involved and feel like she belongs in there, and I think she did in the second half, which I think is so important going on because the Aces are just trying to make the playoffs this year. They're trying to win a championship, and if they're going to, she's going to have to be involved because she's going to be starting every single game. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't want to go too far into the game. I don't want to make these videos too long. Just a nice, quick, comprehensive, little comprehensive coverage. Some like little things I noticed. You would, of course, like Aces don't have like too many sports broadcasters, and they're not on the Twitter page. They're more just highlights. So that was what I saw in this game. I may not be, obviously I'm not going to be able to go to the away games. I can't afford that. I'm not hired by the team, so I won't be able to do that. But when they have away games, I'll be able to watch on my computer, and I'll be able to get these videos out quicker. Just some things, like if you miss the game, obviously I think this would be nice for you to hear so that you can kind of know what to look for in the next game, because I think these are really good things to like help enhance the experience while you're watching the game, or root for, like you can put in the comment section, try to make some change happen or whatever. But at the end of the day, it was a very dominant game. I know I had a lot of criticisms, but the Aces really dominated this game. That second unit very much surprised me, led by Hamby. She had an incredible game. And it was very fun to watch. And A'ja Wilson, of course, had a quiet double-double at 21 points and 11 rebounds, which was really, really great. She didn't have a high presence, but again, she's so good. It's only her second season, and she's still dominating, and people barely notice. I was sitting next to someone, and she's like, oh, I didn't even realize she had 21 points, and to be honest, I didn't either, but she had a really nice buckets. She was shooting the ball a little short, but, this is only the first game of her second season, so I'm sure she's still a little nervous, and she'll get more into it. She still had a really incredible game. I won't go too far into Kelsey Plum. Was a little erratic, but again, I won't go too far into it. I want to keep these post-game coverages short. So thank you for watching. I will be trying to do this immediately after every Aces game. So please leave a comment below. Maybe try to promote me on the Aces Twitter page. I would love to get hired as a sports columnist for them. And yeah, thank you for everything.